Hello ladies and gentlemen, you guys join me behind the wheel of my car, which frankly to speak feels so much better because I haven't been driving for the past 2 months because of everything that's going around, and actually it feels very good. So as you can see behind me, the Hyderabad's system has slightly eased, so there is a lot of traffic which I'm going to be seeing in the background of the videos. Well, that is going to be one issue, but let's just deal with it. So the topic for today's video is basically going to be my car. I mean, this is a 2013 Skoda Rapid, which we've owned since day one, and then we got this car brand new. It is pretty much spectacular driving this thing. The best part about this thing, I'm just gonna dive straight right into it because why not? So the best part is obviously going to be the steering feel, and then the stability, and then everything regarding to the driving aspect of the car. So starting with that, we've actually driven this car all the way to Kurk. This has been on a trip to Mumbai. This has also been on a trip to Tadoba, which if you guys haven't seen, I'll leave a link to it down below. Apart from that, this has also been to some pilgrimage places. Sri Salem is being one of them. I'll leave a link to that as well. So if you guys haven't watched that video and you're new to the channel, you might want to consider subscribing. Yes, so I'm just going to speak for the driving aspect of the car, mainly because I haven't driven any other car apart from this. Well, for this long. I've driven this car for about 1,000 kilometers, and I feel that I'm qualified enough to speak about it. So starting with, as I've said, the driving aspect of it. The driving aspect of this has been spectacular. I mean, for everything, we were cruising on every highway for about 80 to 100, and then no issues. There was absolutely no issues. Well, I mean, it's a Skoda. It's a German built car, so I mean, that's pretty much what you expect out of it. Well, talking about the ride stability and everything in that aspect of the spectrum, how about going to the dynamic variants of the car? I mean, yes, dynamic variants, as this can be a comfortable daily driver, but at the same time it can also lead, like, it can be so very dynamic. Like, in drop a gear and then you can just probably hit the accelerator and then it flies. Well, for India, which is in that where there's a lot of traffic that you have to manage throughout, I mean, having 110-ish hard horsepower is, well, it's pretty good enough, and 250 Newton meters of torque does an absolute blast out of all those. Continuing on to the good parts of the car, well, I mean, it's a sedan. It is basically low to the ground. Not exactly sports car level low, but it is decently low. So what this leads to is, well, when you're on a highway, the lower the car, in my perspective, the lower the car, the better it is to drive, because it doesn't lead to that much fatigue, and you can basically scan the road ahead of you pretty brilliantly. So that is one. And then the AC of this car has been just phenomenal. I mean, to begin with, this hasn't had any sort of AC problems as far as I can remember. So that is a good point of the car, actually. And then the torque on the lower end is just superb. This also is the name of one of Skoda's cars, which I didn't mean to tell, but I did. So the torque in the lower end is just superb. Well, you don't need to drop the gear that often to pick up some of the torque that you've missed along, like, quite the way. And then I'm cruising at about 4,000 RPMs right now, and I put the foot down and there's the torque. So it is almost instantaneous. The curve on torque is being very linear. So I mean, that's a good point. Alright, so what is going to be my next car? I honestly have no clue, but given an option, I'd go for the 2018 Skoda Octavia. Why? Because I've driven its younger brother, this, and well, I feel it is going to be very similar in the driving aspect of it. So as you can see behind me, the scenery is moving, well, pretty damn fast, because I mean, there's the dynamic aspect that I was talking about. It does really pick up and just go. And then, yeah, about that. So talking about the other bad things, well, it doesn't have stability control, traction control buttons. Like, there are many dummy buttons that are present over here, which do absolutely nothing. I mean, I would love to have for it to turn the ABS off, to turn the traction control off. Well, because I mean, it's every car guy's dream. They need to have at least one of those two buttons where they can turn something off. It just enhances that. Alright, well, keeping the fact that this is a Skoda, there's a myth in the Indian car community which says that Skodas and Volkswagens are basically, they're very hard to maintain, to put it into simple words. I've not missed any single annual servicing on this car. And well, as I can say, the annual servicing costs have been pretty like, they're decently cheap. They aren't exactly mind-blowing, because let's say 7,000 to 8,000 per service 1 year on a car that you drive, well, that isn't exactly that bad. I mean, yeah. So the other things we've had to change on this car were obviously the tires, because every 40,000 kilometers they need to be changed. The brake pads, although the technician didn't tell us to do so, but the brake pads, when you're driving in India, you need to have them changed every 20,000 kilometers. And 20,000 kilometers you won't feel exactly is that much, but you do, because the amount of heat and the amount of humidity there is in India, well, it does lead to a lot of brake failures. Regarding that, brake failures, they are generally caused by brake fading, and brake fades are basically when the brakes get too hot and you don't have braking. Alright, so open roads, drop down a gear, and the scenery, well, takes a time. Turbo spooling, and there it is. The scenery just passes on like ease. Well, talking about that, I mean, Bharat uncle, this one's to you. So my dad didn't take a test drive of this car. He drove a colleague's car and fell in love with it. This is actually the exact same specification, including the color, mind you. So if Bharat uncle, you're watching this, thank you for tempting my dad to get this car, which we are actually enjoying a lot. Talking about the bad aspects of the car, I'm gonna go with everyone's favorite. It doesn't have any cup holders. Well, I mean, it does have two, but then all you can fit are baby bottles in them. Water bottles, general water bottle won't fit in it. So that's about it. And then you start off with not having a dead pedal, excuse me. So what exactly is a dead pedal? Well, when you're into a highway situation and you drive, well, you need to rest your left foot on something. So having a dead pedal really does increase its dynamics. You can just have a pedal on the go and not have to move your foot off of the clutch every single time. Like, you don't have to rest on it. So talking about what was the competition when I was buying this car, it leads down to only the simple two, the Honda City and the Hyundai Verna. And well, this is basically the simplest reason that I've found for why my dad chose this car over the two. It's just because my mom wanted a Skoda and she liked the brand. You can't blame her. She's not exactly a person who loves cars. So, and that's that. So, although it is what it is, I still love this car. This is the car that I learned to drive. This is the car that basically has taught me the road dynamics of how to drive, to keep it in simpler terms. Regarding that, the Hyundai Verna, well, that was a fantastic one. That even had an extra gear which we were lacking on the highways. We could actually feel the lack of a sixth gear where it was actually needed to just leave the car down into the lower spectrum of the RPM and just cruise on the highway, not having to worry that the engine's gonna blow up piston now. So that was one of them. The other part that I want to talk about this car is, well, the fact that after this, I think Skoda went too modernized. Because although it was good that they had the better infotainment system and then the better speakers, like we got a good deal. We got some JBL speakers on our car as an optional extra. So I mean, that's a plus point. But keeping to the other versions of the Skoda, I mean, although I haven't seen it, I haven't driven any other Skoda except mine, let me make it a fact. But all I'm gonna say is, there's too much modernization because, well, the reason being that there's way too much security in the car, which is a good thing and also a bad thing because for us car guys, we need specific things that we can turn off. The traction control and ABS as I've spoken about. So alright ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this video of today. Well, if you're new to the channel, as I've said before, leave a like, drop a comment and do subscribe because, well, you're going to see so much more content out of this car already. There's endless possibilities as to what I can do. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.